Good morning, book friends. I'm Allie, and welcome back to my channel. So it's actually not Friday, it's Thursday, but I probably won't have very much time tomorrow to start my vlog. I figured that I would just go ahead and start it today. That way I actually have time to talk to you guys about things. First things first, I finished The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. I loved this one just as much as the first one. I think the first one, as far as like what was going on, was a bit more fast-paced. This one is a bit slower, but the story is developed more in this one. So like the actual cold case that she's working on, we get a lot more details, and some stuff actually starts to become clearer that happened. She's starting to piece it together, and so you have a lot more depth in this one, and some turns that I did not expect, some new characters, and just there was a lot that was like left hanging with this one. This was a really great setup for, I know what's going to be a really awesome third book. So my third book is on its way. I should have it either Saturday or Monday. It's somewhere close. But this one, really good. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It actually takes place right at Halloween. We have a lot more of that fall atmosphere. There was like a costume party and just a lot more going on, because like the mystery just deepens. There's more stuff like happening at the school, and then like everything's actually starting to come together, and so I'm just so excited for the third book. I can't wait to read the third book. I'm loving this series. I honestly did not expect to love this series as much as I am. So I did finish this one, I guess, Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember which day exactly. Since I finished this one, I haven't really read a lot. I have picked up a few books. I picked up If We Were Villains, and I just really wasn't feeling it. I read 50 pages of it, but I just wasn't really in the mood for it, so I ended up putting it down. Honestly, I haven't done a lot of reading since I finished The Vanishing Stair. It was kind of one of those that left me on a book high, because I got to the end of it and the ending was so good, and then I like actually had pieced together some of it, and I was so excited and proud of myself. I was like, I did it. And so yeah, I didn't really read a whole lot more than that. I have got into chapter 2 of Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I'm still reading this one. I haven't put it down, and I don't want to put it down. I'm actually enjoying it, but I've just been reading it slowly and just kind of when I have a chance to pick it up. I do have the audiobook, I just haven't been listening to it. I am going to keep reading this one randomly, just picking it up and reading a chapter or two here or there, just for fun. Over the weekend, I am supposed to be reading The Death of Miss Westaway. This is by Ruth Ware, with my bestie, and she's already started it. I'm not sure how many pages she's read, but I haven't started it yet. I do have the audio, but I just have been slacking this week. I don't know what the deal is. I've just haven't picked up anything. But I am going to be buddy reading this with her. We usually try to buddy read at least one book a month, and we haven't done one this month, so this is the one that we just recently picked. And I will be starting it probably today, at least try to get like 20 pages or something read, or the first couple chapters, because I need to catch up. And as far as like the actual reading vlog goes, I don't necessarily have a theme for this one, because my reading mood has been kind of all over the place. So I've decided that I want to stick with what I'm feeling, and middle grade and YA is just what I've been feeling lately. So I'm going to read Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab. I'm really excited to read this. This is the sequel. The first book is City of Ghosts. I already read that one, I think last Halloween. It could have been 2 Halloweens ago. But it was so good, and it was actually kind of scary, and I absolutely loved that book, and I've been meaning to pick this one up. I just haven't, and no particular reason, I guess. I just haven't. The first book takes place in Edinburgh, and this book I've heard takes place in Paris, and I'm really excited to get into this one. I have heard that this one is a bit scarier than the first one, and I thought the first one was kind of edge of your seat. And I honestly was spooked by the first one. I did read it at night, but I was spooked by it because the ghost in that one was definitely frightening. I am excited to pick this one up. This one is actually really short. It's only 287 pages, so it should be a pretty quick read, and I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to finish this weekend, but it's one that I am going to pick up and be reading. The book that I would like to focus on for the majority of the weekend is The Witch Haven. This is by Sasha Payton Smith. This book is supposed to be about a girl who I think accidentally kills somebody who, I think it's a man who like comes after her, and then she comes and gets like taken away by these people who say they're taking her to like an asylum, but she ends up going to like a witch school. And I've heard that it's got like great magical atmosphere to it, that it feels kind of like Harry Potter, and honestly that sounds great to me, and I'm definitely in the mood to read something kind of magic-y. So I'm very, very excited to be picking this one up. This one is over 400 pages long, so it's probably going to take me a little bit longer. But I do have the audiobook, so I'm pretty excited to start on it and check out this actual book cover. Look how pretty, it's sparkly. I love the naked book. It's so pretty, it's shiny. It looks so pretty without, like, the cover is so pretty, and then you take it off and it looks so pretty. I just can't wait. I'm so excited to read this. I've been meaning to read it for probably a year now. I've had it sitting on my shelf. So the plan is to really focus on The Witch Haven and to kind of mix in Tunnel of Bones since it's shorter. And also to start my buddy read, The Death of Miss Westaway. And then also I have Nevernight just kind of on the back burner. Just kind of pick this up here and there and read a chapter when I feel it. This obviously is not going to be a priority for the weekend, but I definitely am excited to finally be reading it. Sorry, I've been interrupted by my children several times, and so I keep losing my train of thought. There's nothing for it, Mr. Frodo. Well, that's all I have for now. I'm gonna be going off to start reading. I've got a little bit of downtime today, since I'm not going to be doing much today. I'll be doing a lot tomorrow though. I'll catch you guys in the next clip. Good morning, friends. So it is Saturday. No, Saturday. What is today? It is Saturday. Yesterday ended up being just as busy as I figured that it was going to be, and I didn't really have time to do any filming. I didn't really have time to do any reading either. I got to page 90 in The Witch Haven, and I'm really liking it so far. It has a lot of social commentary about how women were treated in this time period, so it's very interesting so far, and I like the magic school aspect, but I'm just really starting to get into the point where she's like going to classes and everything, so there's not a whole lot to update with that. Yesterday I had to do a lot of errands and I ended up having time to go to Barnes & Noble. It was a very brief trip, but I did pick up a few things that I was going to show you guys. So the first book that I picked up is Clown in a Cornfield 2, Friendo Lives. It was 10% off. This comes out on Tuesday, and I had this pre-ordered, but this was 10% off, and I have a membership with Barnes & Noble, so I got this for even cheaper than if I had ordered it online. So I just went ahead and picked up a copy. I normally wouldn't do that, but I wanted to save some money, and so I did. But I'm really excited to read this. I absolutely love the first book, and I cannot wait to read the second book. If you don't know, the first book is about these teenagers who start getting picked off one by one by a serial killer clown. And I'm not going to tell you anything more than that because there's quite a bit to the story and I don't want to give any spoilers, but this book is one of the characters is in college and supposedly believes that they're safe, and I'm going to assume that they are not. I'm very excited to read this. I will probably be waiting till October to read this, but I'm happy to have it either way. The second book that I picked up is Laura Olympus Volume 2. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and this is hardback. I read the first one at the end of last year, and I fell in love with it, and I was excited to finally have the second one. I kind of did read a few pages of this last night, just because if you start reading it, it's hard to stop. It's really fast to read. The illustrations are very colorful and very whimsical. I absolutely love them. This is such a cute book. This was a web series and now it's being turned into graphic novels. And the first one follows Hades and Persephone as they're like meeting one another, and you kind of get a glimpse at their lives and their friends and what's going on with them. And then this one just deepens the story, and I'm excited to read it. The next one that I picked up is The 10,000 Doors of January. I have seen people talk about this book, and I have seen wonderful reviews for this book, and it sounds so good. It's about a girl who finds a book in this mansion, and the book supposedly has doors into other worlds. And that just sounds really awesome to me. So I picked up a copy and I can't wait to read it. And look how pretty the cover is with all the flowers and the pretty doorknob. I love this cover. And the spine is a really pretty, like, purpley pink. I'm very excited for this one. The last book that I picked up, I actually didn't have an opportunity to pick up at Barnes & Noble because I ended up being in a bit of a hurry. But I happened to find it at Walmart at the end of the day, and I was excited. That's Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is by Casey McQuiston. I have seen so many people say how much they love this book and how fun of a read this book is. And so I finally decided that I wanted to pick up a copy of it because I just keep hearing so many people say how much they loved it, and I really want to read it. I'm not in a super romancy mood right now, but I am definitely looking forward to reading it. If you don't know, this follows the President of the US, which is a female in this timeline. Her son ends up having like a enemy relationship with the Prince of England, and they end up developing feelings for one another, and it's supposed to be kind of one of those like slow build romance, and it just sounds so good, and I'm very excited to read it. That concludes all of the books that I picked up yesterday, and today is going to be a very chill day at home. We don't have any plans. I don't think we're going anywhere. And as far as I know, we have nothing to do except relax today. And that is something that I very much am excited to do. So this morning I was up at like 5:30. It's 11 now. I was up at like 5:30 this morning. So I did pick up Ruth Ware's The Death of Miss Westaway, and I got caught up on my buddy read. I'm now on chapter 5. Actually, I may have read to 6, but I'm going to update my friends so that we can keep going with this. So far, the main character is like just really down on her luck, and in a really bad place because she borrowed some money from somebody that she shouldn't have. And then she like gets this letter saying that she's invited to a reading of a will, and she doesn't know the person. She's not related to them, but she decides maybe she should go after all because she's in a really tight spot. So that's where I'm at with this, and so far I'm really liking it. The main character actually does like fortune telling for a living, and so she like reads tarot cards and she is involved with things like that. And I think that so far like the setup is very interesting, and I'm really liking the character building, and I am very much looking forward to reading more of this later. So earlier you guys saw a clip of me making an iced coffee. That iced coffee ended up not tasting the best, so I ended up remaking the coffee, and I made it hot this time. So now I've got foam. This is the same thing that I made earlier. It's just actually hot coffee now instead of iced coffee. And I'm hoping that this one's going to be better than the first one. One more fun fact before I go. I was just kind of messing around last night and looking for a good audiobook for Dracula, and I found out that there is an audiobook with a full cast that has Tim Curry in it, and I was able to get it for free, and now I'm dying to read Dracula, which I've already been like wanting to read this for ages, probably since like 7th grade when my best friend read it in school. I now have the audiobook for it, and it has Tim Curry in it, among other people. There are other people, but I love Tim Curry. And I'm very excited to read this now. I want to read it right now, but at the same time I've got other stuff going, so I'm not going to put down my other stuff just so that I can pick up Dracula. But if I happen to like finish something else rather quickly this weekend, I am going to be picking up Dracula because I'm very, very excited to listen to the full cast audio for it. Also, check out this cover. It is so neat. I found this at Books A Million. They had a whole section with covers for classics that are just kind of more modern, and I really liked this one. I thought it was simple but also effective. It looks creepy. Okay guys, I think for now that's all from me. I'm actually going to sit here now that it's quiet and everybody's chilling, and I'm going to read The Witch Haven. I don't know how much I'm going to read on that, but I am going to read for a little while, and then I really want to pick up Tunnel of Bones because I haven't picked it up yet. Well, I read a couple pages of it, but I'm really excited to pick this up and read a little bit, and talk to you guys again in a little while. Good morning, friends. It's Sunday. I never checked back in last night. I just was chilling most of the day and reading, and I just never pulled my camera back out. Also, the boys were kind of crazy yesterday, so it was kind of loud anytime that I did think about filming. And so, here I am now. So, I unfortunately think that I'm going to be DNFing this book. I read 254 pages. There are 437 pages, so I still have like 200 pages to go. I don't enjoy this book. I think that plenty of people are going to like this book. I think that it's going to be a fun read for a lot of people, but it's just not for me. There are small things that just really aggravate me. Like, the imagery was nice. I like the imagery. I think that the author did a really good job with imagery. But the characters, they don't really have any depth. I don't really feel anything for the characters. And we're in first-person perspective, so we're constantly in the main character's head. And it's also in present tense, so we've got first person, present tense, and that, for me, starts to get kind of grating after a little while. So I wasn't really enjoying the perspective, but also the main character just randomly will have an aside about something from her past, and it is completely irrelevant to what's going on. Like, she just mentions at one time that, you know, one Christmas she had a specific kind of I don't know, cookie or something. Something happened at Christmas and she remembered it. And I was like, that has nothing to do with the plot. So it's small things like that and little continuity errors, like she sneaks out and her friend wakes up and follows her, but then somehow her friend, who runs into somebody else who's also conveniently sneaking out, they end up in front of her whenever she has snuck out first. But like, and she had to like climb a wall, and her friends didn't climb the wall, but yet they didn't pass her. Like, they never saw her on the wall, they never saw her walking ahead of them, but yet they got in front of her and they were like doing things, and she like runs into them. And I was like, wait a second, that timeline doesn't add up. How did she leave after you but they got in front of you? And like, anyway, it's little things like that that are grating on me. And it's more than that. There are more things, like people who are sneaking into this magic school. Like, they're sneaking into the school specifically to leave a note on her pillow. And like, there are teachers patrolling. There are other girls that sleep in this room with her, and yet this person sneaking in and leaving notes on her pillow. Like, it didn't make sense. Those things bother me, and I think a lot of people wouldn't be bothered by that stuff, and I really, really hope that other people can pick this up and just really enjoy it. But for me, the content is like a little sad too, because in the beginning she is like being attacked by her boss, who is definitely meaning to do her harm in a bad way. I don't want to say it because I just don't want to say it, but I think you get my gist. He's wanting to do her harm, and she stabs him, and so like, we start the book with that. That's a pretty dark way to start a book. But then like, there's a lot of discussion about how women are treated and have been treated in this time period, and I really enjoy that we have that discussion. But it's starting to get old because we're 200 pages into the book and it's just like going in circles. There's no depth to it. There's nothing other than the fact that these girls are being bred to be housewives. And I understand the social commentary, and like I said, I really appreciate that representation and that we're discussing that topic, but it just makes the book feel slow and a bit depressing. And the main character, Frances, is just solely obsessed with finding her brother's killer. And like, I can understand being concerned and upset because she didn't know what happened to him, or why, or who, or whatever. But at the same time, like, she's at this new place learning all this stuff, and like, her main obsession is just like her brother's killer, and it just feels disjointed. The whole story, there's not really a plot. We're basically just kind of following her as she just willy-nilly does things. And normally I would be okay with something that's like that, but right now, like, with the way that the story is written and just all of it together, it's just not really working for me. And I find that whenever I go to pick it up to read, I don't want to, and I'm not enjoying it, and I feel like that is a really big sign that maybe I should just not. So I think that I'm just gonna call it quits on this one. I might pick this back up later, maybe, but I kind of feel like I probably won't, just because this writing is not really clicking with me. And I don't really like the characters. I think that one of the other main characters, I'm not going to say who, if you do decide to read this, that would be a spoiler, but one of the other characters is just like really creepy, and I don't like that person. And I feel like having to spend a majority of time with this person, I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's like the person has very stalker vibes, and I'm like, dude, not for me. Not for me. I don't agree with this. So I'm gonna put this one down. And like I said, I may pick it back up at another time. Probably won't. But like, I want to like it because I really love the cover, and I want to keep this on my bookshelf because it's about witches and all kinds of stuff. But like, I don't know. It's just not working. That being said, last night, whenever I got pretty burnt out on that book, I picked up The Tunnel of Bones, and I ended up reading to page 40, and I am loving this book. It takes place in Paris, and really so far just the 40 pages is just set up. She's in Paris with her family. They're getting ready to start filming their show, and so far that's about it. But the writing is so much more of what I enjoy, so I'm actually excited to pick this one up and keep reading, and I have a feeling I can finish this today. I don't think that it's even 300 pages. It is 287, so I can definitely knock this out today. That's no problem. I'm actually looking forward to finishing this one because I've heard that it's pretty creepy, and I'm excited for that. And I also just ordered the third book, and it should be here in like a couple days. So I'm excited for this one. And I just got the audio for The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This is a Newbery Award winner. I'm not sure what year it won the Newbery Award. I believe it would have been around like 2008 or 2009 that this won the Newbery Award. But I've heard that this is a fantastic book, and it is a light retelling of The Jungle Book. It's about a boy who ends up living in a graveyard and being raised by ghosts whenever his family dies. So I actually am very excited to read this. I love Neil Gaiman. He is one of my favorite authors, and I'm surprised that I haven't even read this one yet, honestly, because I've had it for a while. It's right at 307 pages, so I feel like I might not finish this one today, but at least I can start it and probably get a good chunk of it, especially since this one is so short also. Both of these are really short. I'm kind of feeling like maybe I'm going in a better direction now, and if I end up having some time later, I still want to pick up Dracula and read on it some, but this one's around 350 pages. That, like, I'm not trying to finish this today. I'm not trying to even make a big dent in this. I just really wanted to listen to some of it because I'm in the mood for a classic. So the plan for today is just to hang out and to do some reading and just chill. Hopefully it will go a lot better today. I did so much reading yesterday and ended up just not even liking the book, and I'm bummed out that I didn't end up enjoying it as much, but I really do think that a lot of people will enjoy it. I think that it's a story that a lot of people would be able to connect to. It's just not for me. Alright guys, I'm gonna go sit down and read for a little while, and I will catch back up later. friends, it's Monday and I'm here to wrap up the vlog. So I ended up DNFing this. I've already talked about it. I do believe that a lot of people are going to enjoy this. It does have good imagery and it has a lot of good social commentary about the way that women were treated around 1910 or 11 is when this was written. So it has a lot of really good commentary about that, and it does have witches and spellcraft and things of that nature. So if you do like a book that doesn't necessarily go into detail about magic systems or world building and you just like to go along for the ride for just a story about witches, pick this one up and check it out, because I don't think that it's a bad book. It's just not for me. Second, I picked up The Tunnel of Bones, which is the second book. I don't know if this series has a name, but the first one is City of Ghosts, and I finished this one yesterday and I absolutely loved it. It follows Cassidy Blake as she is with her parents in Paris. They are ghost hunters filming a TV show, and she goes with them to film in Paris. And the ghost, I had heard that the ghost in this one is scarier. I think, honestly, the ghost in the first one is scarier as far as a frightening ghost. I think this ghost felt like the stakes were raised. Like, it was more frightening on a different level, because it felt like the ghost was more out of control, as opposed to the first book that feels like the ghost is just like straight up evil. And I think that that is a big difference here. So this one is like higher stakes as far as the type of ghost they're dealing with, but the first one definitely I feel like is a little more frightening. But this book is so good. It's a very quick middle grade. It has great family dynamics, and the actual story itself, it's like, it really does lean heavily on friendship, because her best friend is a ghost, and so she has a really close bond with him, and I think that friendship is a really strong element in this book. And it's just such a good story, and the writing is so good, and you get glimpses of Paris and like different parts of Paris, and it's just a really fun story. I think that if you like a good ghost story and you enjoy middle grade, definitely check this series out. I would start with The City of Ghosts first though, because it does have like essential points to like set up the story. This one doesn't spoil anything, but you won't really understand who some of the characters are in this book if you haven't already read the first book. There is one more in this series called The Bridge of Souls. I just recently got that one in the mail, and I'm very excited to start it as well. I think that it's supposed to be the last story. I think this was just supposed to be a trilogy, and the way that this one ends is kind of on a cliffhanger, and it sounds like the next thing that she's going to encounter, as far as like a spirit or whatever, is going to be pretty creepy, because at the end of the book I was creeped out by what she saw. So I'm very excited to start the third book. Lastly, I started the Graveyard book today, and I was able to read... Why? You scared the crap out of me! No, stop shooting me! Oh, that was right here. The last book that I picked up and started yesterday was The Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman, and I read 60 pages of this. It has 307 pages, so it's just a little bit longer than the last one, and so far it is really good. The setup is that in the very beginning, and it doesn't go into detail, but this baby is like, he escapes his crib, his family gets killed, and he escapes his crib, and he goes into the graveyard across from his house, and the ghosts in the graveyard decide that they are going to raise him. And so it's basically like the Jungle Book, except with ghosts instead of animals, and that's a super neat concept to me. And so far I'm really enjoying this. His name is Nobody Owens. He goes by Bod, and it's really just about him growing up in the graveyard so far. He meets another child and kind of learns about the outside world. This book is very well written, and if you are interested in listening to the audio for it, Neil Gaiman is actually the narrator. I believe that Neil Gaiman narrates all of his books. So far that I've seen, he has narrated all of his books. And he has such a wonderful voice, and he is such a good narrator. So if you are interested in reading this, I highly recommend check out the audiobook. And also there is a full cast audiobook that I've heard is really good also. I haven't been able to get that one yet. I'm waiting on that one to come from my library, but I was able to get just the normal one, and so far I really am enjoying just the normal one, but this is a really good book. When I finish this book, I'll let you guys know how I liked it next Friday whenever I start my next vlog. But I feel like this is going to be a 5-star read. I love Neil Gaiman. I love his writing. He's such a whimsical writer. He's just so good at character building. Like he's just a phenomenal writer who can just build such immersive stories, especially even for middle grade. This weekend I read over 500 pages. I don't know the exact count. I just know that it was over 500 and I believe under 600. I'm not even going to try to do the math. DNF one book, finished one book, started another book and read a decent chunk of it, and I had a really good time all in all. I hope that you guys have had fun hanging out with me. Until next time guys, I'll catch you in the next vlog.